Hello and welcome to Brasstacks. It's exactly a week since the horror in Hyderabad where a young doctor was raped, gang raped and then burned to death. We do a status check of cities across this country and whether it's any more safer for women. It's the only show, this one, which gives you just the news and no opinion. I'm Zakka Jacob. First, the headlines that we're tracking. Exactly a week after the Hyderabad vet was gang raped and murdered, her body burned, a rape survivor is set ablaze by 5 men in Unnao. Manmohan Singh says the 1984 riots could have been avoided if Narasimha Rao had listened to I.K. Gujral and called in the army. Out on bail, P. Chidambaram attacks the government over the state of the economy. He says they are clueless about the slump. The Andhra Pradesh government's decision to subsidize onions triggers a stampede-like situation in Vijayanagara. And Donald Trump is a step closer to getting impeached. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi instructs the House Judiciary Committee to draft articles of impeachment against Trump. It's exactly a week to the day since a 26-year-old veterinarian doctor was gang raped, murdered, and then her body burnt very close to Hyderabad. Even as we come to terms with this horror, today a similar case has come to light in Unnao in Uttar Pradesh.
A rape survivor was set ablaze by 5 men. One of them had allegedly raped her in March this year. In fact, the woman was on her way to Raebareli for the hearing in the rape case when the men attacked her. The accused doused her with kerosene a kilometer away from her home and set her on fire.
वो वहाँ से दौड़ती हुई चली आ रही थी और उसने कहा बचाओ बचाओ। वो जली हुई थी, हम डर गए।
The woman's condition is critical. She has suffered 90% burns.
जब पेशेंट यहाँ पे आई थी तो काफ़ी पेन की वजह से काफ़ी रेस्टलेस थी और उसको इंजेक्शंस वगैरह दिए गए तो पेन जो है वो कम है पहले से, लेकिन पेशेंट अभी होश में है।
All 5 accused in the case have been arrested.
शासन द्वारा पुलिस महानिदेशक महोदय द्वारा इसे अत्यधिक गंभीरता से लिया गया है और इसमें वरिष्ठ स्तर पर सभी अधिकारियों ने भ्रमण किया है। उसमें 5 व्यक्तियों का नाम बताया गया था। उन 5 व्यक्तियों की तत्परता से पुलिस के द्वारा गिरफ्तारी की गई है।
Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath has promised strictest action against them. But Congress leader Priyanka Gandhi has slammed him for claiming that the law and order situation in the state has improved. SP Chief Akhilesh Yadav has demanded that the BJP government in UP step down. The incident comes a week after the charred body of a 26-year-old vet was found on the outskirts of Hyderabad. Investigations revealed that the woman was gang raped by 4 men.
Some of the members, especially the male members, have said that I used some very harsh words. Those harsh words were used out of desperation. I really don't know how one is going to solve this.
As horrifying as what happened in Unnao is, a minister in the Uttar Pradesh government today has come out and said that even Lord Ram cannot ensure complete security for women.
जब समाज है तो समाज में ये कह देना कि 100% क्राइम नहीं होगा, ये सिक्योरिटी तो मुझे नहीं लगता है कि भगवान राम ने भी दे पाई हो। तो 100% नहीं है, लेकिन ये सिक्योरिटी जरूर है, अगर क्राइम हुआ है तो वो जेल जाएगा और उसको सजा कड़ी से कड़ी मिलेगी, ये तय।
And just a week after the Hyderabad horror, we're doing a status check across cities in this country and just how safe women are. Here's our first report from Delhi.
The first stop is Delhi University, where thousands of women students live and study. The roads on campus are properly lit, but move a kilometer away, everything goes pitch black.
We are standing at a stretch which is completely dark. All you can see is the light that is coming from the vehicles. But if we talk about the street lights, there is no street light in this stretch. In fact, this is a 1 to 2 kilometer of area which is completely dark. I would request my VJ Vikas Rawat to switch off the camera light and show you the exact predicament of this road. This is how this road looks at night. The only light you have is of your vehicle. Apart from that, there is no street light.
The next stop is the Munirka bus stand. This is where Nirbhaya and her friend had boarded the bus that fateful evening in 2012. On the 16th of December 2012, not a single police van was patrolling in the area. It's close to midnight. There aren't too many people here, but we do see 2 PCR vans, one on the move and the other stationed at a little distance away. Next on the list is the Vasant Vihar metro station. It's 12:30 a.m. Our reporter decides to get off from her car to test if she can be out on the streets without feeling threatened. She walks towards the Vasant Vihar metro station and stands near an auto point. As she waits, a patrolling PCR crosses her.
Now, what about the scenario in the rest of the National Capital Region? Is it similar in the outskirts of Delhi? Here's another status check.
CNN News 18's team decided to drive down the 165-kilometer-long Yamuna Expressway that connects Greater Noida to Agra, and it all happened at 8 p.m.
We're en route Jewar on the Yamuna Expressway. We've crossed several kilometers. Till now, we've not spotted a single patrolling team. The entire stretch barely has any street lights. In fact, this entire area is completely pitch black.
This 6-lane highway has many desolated stretches. The first stop is a kilometer away from Zero Point, where a young girl from Delhi was allegedly held at knife point and raped by 2 men last month. Despite the crime, no one has bothered to fix the street lights here.
Now, what has changed in 2 weeks? Well, nothing. The entire stretch is unlit, and even if I wanted to call out for help, I can't because there is no network.
An hour and a half into the journey is the Jewar Bulandshahr stretch. In 2017, a group of robbers looted a family of 8, raped 4 of their women, and then shot a man dead for objecting to the assault. 2 years on, this highway continues to be a hellish ride.
And there's going to be a new airport in that very same area in Jewar very soon, and there are no street lights there yet. But here are some startling statistics on crimes against women that we simply cannot afford to turn a blind eye to anymore. Every 15 minutes in our country, a woman is raped in some corner or the other. Not a single rapist has been hanged to death in the last 7 years. Not one. Only 1 out of 4 rape cases eventually ends up in a conviction. What that means is that 3 out of 4 rape accused walk away scot-free. And there are more than 6 lakh rape cases that are pending in different courts, either in trial courts or in appellate courts. There are more than 6 lakh rape cases that are pending across the country at this given point in time. Now, in the aftermath of what happened in Hyderabad, the rape, the murder, we also did a status check in Bengaluru. And Bengaluru Metro, for example, our viewers will remember this a few days ago, became the first metro in the country to legally allow women to carry pepper spray at metro stations. But how safe is the city itself? Here's a status report from Bengaluru.
This is the same city where in 2005, a young BPO employee was raped and killed by her cab driver when she was on her way to work for the night shift.
14 years hence, what you see on ground is that nothing much has changed. Well, there are still no street lights on this road or this route that a person would take to get there. In terms of security for women, one would say it is bare minimum. We've not barely seen any police patrolling on the spot.
And it's not just in the IT sector that women do night shifts. It's in factories and manufacturing units as well. But do women feel safe working in the night shift in a city like Bengaluru?
Some of the roads do have CCTVs, but I don't think they work properly and all. And sometimes the CCTV are covered up with the trees. So this should be maintained, I think. Talking about Ola, Uber, it's very difficult at odd times, even in the morning and all. We book and we wait for half an hour. They continuously reject. And at the end, we have to come down on the road.
Women in the city have been advised to download the Suraksha app. It's an app introduced by the Bengaluru police to help women in distress.
So we've shown you Delhi, we've shown you NCR, we've shown you Bangalore. The story is the same. Street lights. There is missing street lights. What about Chennai? And this is going to be our final status report after we go to our guests. What about Chennai? Is it any better for women?
Authorities have tightened security at Chennai's Nungambakam station, where exactly 3 years ago, a techie was hacked to death by her stalker in broad daylight. But the same can't be said for other prominent stations in Chennai. Case in point, at Chetpet station, there are no CCTVs. The station is poorly lit and the route that leads to the station is pitch dark and scary.
Commuters say that post 7 p.m. this area is risky for them and they do not take this route if they don't find other people. They say that after 10 p.m. this place remains isolated and they say that they do fear using this route but they have no choice. Clearly, safety of women is still a question and a debatable topic here in the city.
This was the same station where a woman was murdered by her relative before he jumped in front of a train. Clearly, nothing has changed on the ground.
இந்த ரூட்ல பொறுத்தவரையும் சேஃபா ஃபீல் பண்ணல. ஒரு 9 ஒரு 10 ஆனா இன்னும் இருட்டாயி யாருமே இருக்க மாட்டாங்க. இப்பனா கொஞ்சம் ஆட்டோ ஸ்டாண்ட்ல இருக்கு. அப்பலாம் ஒண்ணுமே இருக்காது. தனியா வர ஒரு மாதிரி நர்வஸா இருக்கும்.
And admittedly, there are 100 things that need to be fixed, whether it is just, police being uncooperative, whether it is the slow judicial process. But let's start with one, just fixing street lights. I'm going to ask that to both Karuna Nandi, who's a Supreme Court lawyer, as well as Neeti Jain, BJP spokesperson. Neeti, I don't know if you got a chance to listen to all our ground reports. We did ground reports from Delhi, from the National Capital Region, from Bangalore, from Mumbai, from Chennai. I'm not asking for anything lofty. We've got, like I said, there are 100 things that need to be fixed. But can we start with street lights? Is street lights such a difficult thing to ask? Because every city, it's the same situation. There are no street lights.
No, Zakka, the question that you're asking me, I think the answer to that is a resounding no. I don't think it is a huge task to get the street lights fixed, and I think it is very unfair to say that no street lights are working. There are stretches. So for example, when you're talking about the expressway, and this is my personal experience, I've been on the expressway a lot of times and I haven't faced that problem. It could be a one-off situation also when the documentary was taken. But that said, I don't think anybody is saying that women's security is not an issue, including the parliament, including the officials, including the judiciary. I think everybody agrees that women's security is an issue, but to say that nobody is doing anything about it is slightly unfair.
Why then does it keep happening?
And sitting here,
just look at what happened today, right? I mean, we had Hyderabad. We still haven't come to terms fully with what happened in Hyderabad. In Unnao, a rape survivor, a victim, is on her way to court. One of the persons who had already was accused of raping her and his friends come together and burn her alive. What does that say of our system? What does that say of these men and the impunity with which they think they can get away with not just raping her, but also burning her to death?
Like I said, Zakka, nobody sitting here and nobody sitting anywhere in this country today wants to defend what has happened either in Hyderabad or in Unnao. For Unnao, rape is a non-bailable offence. How did they get bail?
Yeah.
Why was there no security? There's an SIT that has been made, so all of those details will probably come out. And just one statement of, because you've asked me specifically about it now, the CM has taken cognizance on that matter. But the point I was making earlier was that, this entire system is somewhere not up to the mark, because obviously if even one woman is losing her life, there is someone who is failing at it, and to say anything otherwise means that we're going to justify it, and I don't think we should do that.
We have a tendency in this country to say the system is wrong. Everything is the fault of the system. But Karuna, again, I keep going back to Unnao because it's shocking to me that somebody who's on trial for rape and his friends get together and burn the victim here. First of all, how did they get bail? Because one of the criteria when you give bail is to ensure that the people who are given bail are not in a position to either influence witnesses or tamper with evidence, or in this case try to burn a victim to death. And two, I mean, if they can do this, then God knows, I mean, tomorrow another potential rape accused somewhere in another part of the country is going to look at what happened in Hyderabad, is going to look at what happened in Unnao, and they're going to say, not only can I rape with impunity, but I'm just going to burn these victims to death, because then there's no evidence that's left behind. There's no case to be pursued.
The rapists in Unnao, Zakka, didn't need to look any further than Unnao to look for examples of impunity. The fact that the victim's father died in police custody the fact that Kuldeep Singh Sengar, who's supported by the ruling party and supported by the state government, only was arrested and only was detained after all of you and the media, there was so much pressure, is very, very telling. I think there's a feeling also that there's a big man, he got away with it, I want to be a big man too, and I will get away with it too. This state of affairs, I think, is absolutely unconscionable. And who is responsible for witness protection programs? It is the state government.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's just the UP. I think the state of affairs in UP is particularly egregious and ugly and shocking, and there's a war against women. But of course, this is also true in the other parts of the country. And we cannot be afflicted by the bigotry of low expectations and just ask for street lights. You know, when people talk about mindset change, it's become something to say. Like a quick thing, let's just talk about mindset change and then let's get excited and let's talk about the death penalty, which makes no difference, which makes no actual difference to women's safety.
The reason I said street lights.
When are we going to actually
the reason I said street lights is because there are 100 things.
I'm not talking about you. I think that obviously your heart is in the right place and you want at least one basic thing.
Yeah,
right? I totally understand that.
Can we at least agree on a starting point? I know judicial delays are a complex problem. We can't fix that overnight. People not wanting to go to police stations or police refusing to lodge FIRs or victim shaming, again, is not going to change overnight. But at least can we start with street lights? I mean, that isn't too much to ask for a country that aspires to be $5 trillion economy.
I'd have a different starting point, I think, which is that we know what needs to be done for behavior change. There are lots of targeted studies that have been done that demonstrate, whether it's in a slum school, whether it's with doctors, whether it's with police, what it takes to change the behavior. Why can each state not take one district in which they measure prior, do targeted interventions to change the behavior of people with regard to misogyny, and then subsequently, after 6 months, after a year, measure people's attitudes.
Okay.
And then implement that in, successively large areas. Because it is enough. It's not about the death penalty. It's not about... The first thing we really need to do is to, on a war footing, make sure that women are not raped and assaulted.
Yeah,
and this, I feel, is the absolute high priority that
we don't have a strong enough law. We don't have a strong enough law.
I think at least
we have a reasonably strong law post what happened in 2012. But if cases are going to take 7 years, 10 years, and 15 years to get disposed of, then that's not going to inspire confidence in anyone. Final word, Neeti. I've got 30 seconds. I've got to wrap up.
You're also absolutely right about that.
What you're saying is not about the law but the judicial process, so to say. So we have appeals after appeals, yes, but that is also a human right thing that goes to the criminals. But that said, like the point I was making earlier, with this we cannot entirely say that nobody is doing anything. The judiciary has come out with a lot of measures for rape cases. The government has taken a lot of steps for the rape cases. Obviously, they're not enough.
Doing?
A lot more needs to be done.
What is your government doing? You're saying they're taking steps?
Ma'am, I can give you... No, they're not. I can give you the entire 4,000 crore, the funding that has been given, the steps that have been taken. You've been asking about the forensic labs. There is a forensic lab that has come up in Chandigarh. The Chandigarh forensic lab has come up for 100 crore budget. Another 100 crore has been given for 12 states that is being developed. So all of those forensic labs
for this country's women, 600 million.
No, but 12 more are being developed, ma'am.
There are 12
more that are being developed. The funds for that has been released by the government.
One second. As I wrap up, we also know that the Nirbhaya Fund, for example, has been unused in a large number of states, in a multitude of states. I'm going to thank both Karuna and Neeti for joining us. Every time there is such a outrageous story that comes from Hyderabad or Chennai or the National Capital Region or today in Unnao, we all have these debates and we all vow to come around and say, we need to fix this and we need to fix that and we need to fix X, Y, and Z. Ultimately, let's start with the basics, and that's why I keep saying let's at least have a a simple step that can be done. And in my opinion, at least fixing streetlights in our cities is a reasonable starting point. I want to move on here on Brasstacks to the other big story that we're tracking here on the program. Dr. Manmohan Singh, the former Prime Minister's comments on the 1984 anti-Sikh riots at the 100th birth anniversary of former Prime Minister I.K. Gujral has sparked off a huge political storm. Singh said that the massacre could have been avoided if Gujral's advice to the then Home Minister P.V. Narasimha Rao to call in the army at the earliest had been heeded too.
Gujral ji, on that very sad evening, he went to the then Home Minister Shri P.V. Narasimha Rao and said to him that the situation is so grave that it is necessary for the government to call the army at the earliest. If that advice had been heeded, perhaps the massacre that took place in 1984 could have been avoided.
Many have backed Manmohan Singh's comments.
I fully subscribe to the view of Dr. Manmohan Singh. I stand by that. A stitch in time saves nine, as they say. This major, I think so, blot could have been saved had timely action been taken.
I.K. Gujral's son, Akali Dal leader Naresh Gujral, says his father approached Narasimha Rao several times before the riots.
People like my late father, Mr. I.K. Gujral, people like General Arora, Air Marshal Arjun Singh, Mr. Kuldeep Nair, they went repeatedly to the Home Minister that day. This is before the carnage had started. But the fact is that they should have taken action.
But Narasimha Rao's family is demanding an apology from Manmohan Singh.
If it has to be blamed, it has to be blamed on Rajiv Gandhi's cabinet, Rajiv Gandhi, the CWC, entire Congress party has to be blamed, not Mr. Narasimha Rao. This kind of statements coming from him is really, really condemnable, and then we demand an unconditional apology from Dr. Manmohan Singh.
The BJP has latched on to the comment, saying it's a bid to defend Rajiv Gandhi, who was Prime Minister at the time of the riots.
राजीव गांधी तो अपने मंत्रियों को आदेश दे सकते, उल्टा राजीव गांधी ने ये दिन दहाड़े जो भयंकर नरसंहार हुआ उसका समर्थन किया एक तरीके से.
The riots broke out after then Prime Minister Indira Gandhi was assassinated by her Sikh bodyguards. Nearly 3,000 Sikhs were killed in the massacre. So what has been the Congress Party's stand on these anti-Sikh riots? In 1988, Sonia Gandhi had said that she was anguished by what had happened in 1984. Then in 2005, in the UPA time, the Prime Minister, Manmohan Singh at that time, had said that he bows his head in shame on behalf of his government. He had said this in the floor of the Parliament. Then again in 2013, he said that he will not hesitate in apologizing to the Sikh community for the riots. In 2014, Rahul Gandhi had said that some congressmen were probably involved in the riots. But 4 years later, he did a U-turn and said that his party was not involved. And then right before the Lok Sabha elections in 2019, Sam Pitroda of the Congress Party made that infamous "Hua to hua" comment. The Citizenship Amendment Bill, which has been cleared by the Cabinet Wednesday, will now be introduced in the Lok Sabha next week, but it's already divided the nation. The bill seeks to grant citizenship to non-Muslim immigrants from Bangladesh, Afghanistan and Pakistan if they are facing religious persecution in those countries. The opposition alleges that the bill targets Muslims.
Congress Party is against any form of discrimination against anybody in this country. So anybody who discriminates against anybody who's Indian, we are against them. That is our line. We believe that India belongs to everybody, all communities, all religions, all cultures.
The bill is set to clear the Lok Sabha easily, but in the Rajya Sabha, where the government is in a minority, the numbers are slightly more challenging.
ये पूरे तौर से विभाजनकारी व असंवैधानिक विधेयक है, इसलिए बीएसपी इस बिल के वर्तमान स्वरूप से बिल्कुल भी सहमत नहीं है.
Protests continue to rock Assam over the Citizenship Amendment Bill.
The Kripal Mukti Khangram Committee, a peasant organization, is staging an anti-government demonstration against the cap outside the Assam Secretariat in Dispur, Guwahati. racist members have gathered here, raising anti-government slogans and carrying banners and placards.
I am warning on behalf of Assamese people that this bill should immediately be rejected. Otherwise, Assam will fight against India.
They say the bill goes against the 1985 Assam Accord, which promised the deportation of any illegal foreigners who entered the state after March 1971. And the stage is set for only the fourth impeachment inquiry against a sitting US president. House of Representatives Speaker Nancy Pelosi has given the go-ahead to the filing of impeachment charges against Donald Trump. She said that Trump's actions leave her with no choice but to proceed. The House Judiciary Committee will now prepare the articles of impeachment, the draft, and then it will be put to vote in the House of Representatives. If it passes by a simple majority, then it will be referred to the full House ahead of a trial in the Senate to complete the process of removing the president from office. Trump has been accused of having abused his office to block military aid to Ukraine in return for personal political gain.
We certainly believe in Rishabh's ability. I think it's when you say it's a player's responsibility to work hard and perform and do all those things, I agree. But I think it's a collective responsibility of everyone around as well to give that player some space to do so as well. If he misses a chance or something, people can't shout MS's name in the stadium. It's not respectful if I have to put it that way, because no player would like that to happen. You're playing in your own country and you should get support rather than always thinking what mistake is this guy gonna make.
Well, that's not the only Virat Kohli story we have for you, because Virat Kohli and Hrithik Roshan both were trending in an online poll. We'll tell you why in our entertainment wrap.
Hrithik Roshan has been voted as the sexiest Asian of the decade by a London-based magazine. He's been named as the Greek god of Bollywood. Besides Hrithik, cricketer Virat Kohli has also made it to the list and was ranked 7th most sexiest man in Asia.
Exactly 1 week since a 26-year-old veterinarian was gang raped, murdered and her body burnt very close to Hyderabad. Even as we come to terms with this horror, today a similar case has come to light in Unnao in Uttar Pradesh.
A rape survivor was set ablaze by 5 men. One of them had allegedly raped her in March this year. In fact, the woman was on her way to Rai Bareli for the hearing in the rape case when the men attacked her. The accused doused her with kerosene a kilometer away from her home and set her on fire.
वो वहाँ से दौड़ती हुई चली आ रही थी और उसने कहा बचाओ बचाओ, वो जली हुई थी, हम डर गए.
The woman's condition is critical. She has suffered 90% burns.
जब पेशेंट यहाँ पे आई थी तो काफ़ी पेन की वजह से काफ़ी रेस्टलेस थी. अब उसको इंजेक्शंस वगैरह दिए गए तो पेन जो है वो कम है पहले से, लेकिन पेशेंट अभी होश में है.
All 5 accused in the case have been arrested.
शासन द्वारा पुलिस महानिदेशक महोदय द्वारा इसे अत्यधिक गंभीरता से लिया गया है और इसमें वरिष्ठ स्तर पर सभी अधिकारियों ने भ्रमण किया है. उसमें 5 व्यक्तियों का नाम बताया गया था. उन 5 व्यक्तियों की तत्परता से पुलिस के द्वारा गिरफ्तारी की गई है.
Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath has promised strictest action against them. But Congress leader Priyanka Gandhi has slammed him for claiming that the law and order situation in the state has improved. SP Chief Akhilesh Yadav has demanded that the BJP government in UP step down. The incident comes a week after the charred body of a 26-year-old vet was found on the outskirts of Hyderabad. Investigations revealed that the woman was gang raped by 4 men.
Some of the members, especially the male members, have said that I used some very harsh words. Those harsh words were used out of desperation. I really don't know how one is going to solve this.
On the other hand, a group of college students in Bihar's Darbhanga district taught a befitting lesson to an Eve teaser.
A gang of 3 women pushed him to a wall and took matters into their own hands. They took out their slippers and thrashed him for stalking them. These girls claim the man would stand outside their PG and pass lewd comments. After facing the wrath of these women, the accused was handed over to the police.
Former Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh has dropped a bombshell saying that the 1984 anti-Sikh riots could have been avoided had the then Home Minister P.V. Narasimha Rao paid heed to I.K. Gujral's advice to call in the army at the earliest. While I.K. Gujral's family has backed Manmohan Singh's remark, P.V. Narasimha Rao's family is demanding an unconditional apology from him. The BJP, on the other hand, has targeted former Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi for not stopping the massacre. The Citizenship Amendment Bill, which was cleared by the Cabinet Wednesday, will be introduced in the Lok Sabha next week. Protests continue in Assam. They say the bill goes against the 1985 Assam Accord, which promised deportation of illegal migrants who entered the state after 1971. The opposition has alleged that the bill targets Muslims as it seeks to grant citizenship to non-Muslim immigrants from Pakistan, Bangladesh and Afghanistan. An estimated 60% electors cast their vote in the Karnataka by-polls today held for 15 constituencies. The results, which will be out on the 9th of December, will decide the fate of the 4-month-old B.S. Yediyurappa government. The by-elections are being held to fill up the vacancies caused by the disqualification of 17 rebel Congress and JDS MLAs. The BJP needs to win at least 6 out of these 15 seats to remain in majority. An Indigo aircraft suffered a mid-air scare and had to return to Mumbai right after takeoff, in fact, because of high engine vibrations. The pilot of the Mumbai to Bengaluru flight decided to then turn back after seeing a caution advisory in an instrument panel. The civil aviation body has ordered Indigo to replace all Pratt & Whitney engines by the 31st of January next year. Members of Parliament have unanimously decided to let go of the subsidy that they avail at the Parliament canteen. Now, here's what they used to pay for food at the Parliament canteen up until now. You could get rotis for as little as 2 rupees in the Parliament canteen, rice for just 7 rupees in the canteen, a plain dosa would set you back by a princely sum of 12 rupees, chicken curry was sold for just 50 rupees, and fish curry was sold for just 40 rupees in the Parliament canteen, and MPs could eat chicken biryani for just 65 rupees. It was day one of former Union Minister P. Chidambaram's life outside the Tihar jail, and he did not waste any time in attacking the government on the economy. He put on his former finance minister hat and slammed the government over the state of the economy.
The government is wrong. It is wrong because it's clueless. It is unable to look for the obvious clues.
He also accused the government of making mistake after mistake.
Because it is stubborn and mulish in defending its catastrophic mistakes like demonetization, flawed GST.
Chidambaram also took a dig at Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman, whose response to the current onion crisis was that she doesn't consume much of the kitchen staple.
I thought the Finance Minister said yesterday she doesn't eat onions and she's not bothered. What does she eat? Does she eat avocado? She doesn't eat onions.
Chidambaram walked out of jail after 106 days after the Supreme Court granted him bail in the INX media case. And talking about onions, with prices skyrocketing, the Andhra Pradesh government decided to subsidize. They decided to sell it at 25 rupees a kilo. But take a look at what happened as a result. The Andhra Pradesh government decided to sell onions at 25 rupees a kilogram. That is much less than the retail rate, which has gone beyond 100 in most cities. So when the news got out, hundreds gathered outside the Raitu Bazaar and tried to push open the gates. Those in charge of the market tried to hold off the crowds for a few minutes, but they were quickly overpowered. and when the gates of the bazaar finally opened, all hell broke loose. Hundreds rushed into the market to get their hands on cheap onions, and they let anyone come in their way. Women armed with shopping bags fought with each other to enter the market. Some got hurt in the stampede-like situation, but hardly anyone stopped to help them. Within a few seconds, the entire area was jam-packed. Seeing the crowds, it's unlikely that everyone went home with subsidized onions. The markets ended in the red today. The RBI kept its policy rate unchanged, surprising investors who were expecting at least a 25 basis point cut. The Sensex ended about 70 points lower at 40,779. The Nifty closed very close to the 12,000 mark. Shares of rate-sensitive sectors like banking, automobiles, etc. dragged the markets down. And talking about the RBI, which today not just did not cut down its rates, but also lowered the projection for economic growth for this fiscal 2019-20 from 6.1% earlier to just 5%. The central bank cited weak domestic demand and slowdown in global economic activity as the reasons for the downward projection. However, the RBI kept the interest rates unchanged. PNB scam accused diamantier Nirav Modi was declared a fugitive economic offender by a Mumbai court today. Nirav Modi is accused of duping Punjab National Bank of more than 13,000 crores. Modi is the second businessman after Vijay Mallya to get that tag. Talking about another bank, the Maharashtra government has suggested a merger of the scam-hit PMC Bank with the Maharashtra State Cooperative Bank in a bid to try and provide some relief to the depositors of PMC. PMC has been put under restrictions by the RBI after an alleged 4,300 crore scam came to light. The Coast Guard has rescued more than 250 fishermen who were stranded in the Arabian Sea close to Goa. The sea had suddenly got choppy, leaving the fishermen in distress. When the distress call was received, the Coast Guard roped in 7 merchant vessels transiting through the area to help. With the merchant vessels, the Coast Guard was able to reach close to the fishing boats. The Coast Guard then used inflatable rafts to bring the fishermen back to the ships. The survivors were provided with food and first aid. All of them are reported to be healthy.
Justin Timberlake has issued a public apology to his wife Jessica Biel for flirting with Alicia Wainwright. Timberlake's marital life landed in troubled waters after shots of him touching Alicia were leaked online. Hollywood star Emma Stone and her boyfriend, Saturday Night Live director Dave McCary, are engaged. McCary shared a picture of Stone flashing her engagement ring. They've been dating for over 2 years. The couple first met when Stone hosted Saturday Night Live in 2016.
Finally, follow CNN News 18 on Twitter, Facebook and YouTube. And remember to also follow road signs and traffic laws for road safety. You can join Network 18 and Hyundai's initiative towards ensuring road safety in India. Be the better guy. Thanks for your time and good night.